Okay, let's dive right in today. First up, we're looking at an expert take on India's recent transformation. It paints this picture of a nation really focused on becoming a major player economically, strategically, technologically.
Yeah, and the source really emphasizes this idea of self-reliance driving it all, not just policy, but like a genuine national passion. It's presented as a real foundational shift.
It kicks off with Make in India. You remember that? Launched back in 2014. That was the initial paradigm shift. The goal was ambitious, not just playing in global manufacturing, but actually becoming a powerhouse.
Right.
And the source mentions reforms, making it easier to do business, speeding up approvals, basically trying to attract investment, both foreign and domestic.
And specific sectors got a boost, didn't they? Like
Yeah.
electronics, defense, automobiles,
Right.
often helped by those production-linked incentive schemes, the PLIs.
Exactly. Those PLIs gave a real push.
Yep.
Then in 2020, that momentum got, well, reinforced with Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Self-Reliant India mission.
Which took it a step further, right? Not just self-sufficiency, but aiming to be a global leader, a lighthouse, I think the source called it, integrating globally, but from strength.
Yeah, and a big part of that was cutting down import dependence, especially in strategic areas.
Like defense, electronics, semiconductors, pharma, critical minerals, things vital for national security, basically.
And it's not just manufacturing. The source highlights India's whole innovation scene. It's now the world's third largest startup ecosystem, apparently.
That's huge. And you see it everywhere: fintech, agritech, health tech, ed tech. They're solving local problems, but also starting to compete globally.
And crucially, they're making strategic contributions too. Defense tech, cybersecurity, AI, space.
Which brings us to that example the source uses, Operation Sindoor. It's presented as a kind of moment of reckoning for Made in India.
How so?
Well, it showcased India's ability to conduct a strike using its own indigenous technology. It symbolized that move away from being just an importer to actually being a producer of advanced systems.
And the numbers seem to back that up. Defense exports hitting, what, 23,622 crore in FY25, going to about 80 countries.
Yeah, and they expect that to potentially reach 50,000 crore by 2029. And a big chunk of that, over 15,000 crore, came from the private sector, which is interesting.
So Operation Sindoor kind of validated that whole decade-long push for economic and tech resilience. Is that the idea?
That's how the source frames it, yes. And it connects to the bigger point that national power today is really tied to leading in technology. AI, quantum, biotech, space.
If you're not strong there, you're vulnerable.
Exactly. And the source points to things like the National Quantum Mission, the India Semiconductor Mission, ISRO's successes like Chandrayaan and Gaganyaan, as signs India is taking this seriously.
But it also stresses this isn't just a government thing. It needs industry, academia, startups all working together.
Absolutely. Industries involved in semiconductors, clean tech, mobility, defense, supporting things like Bashini for AI translation, and Future Skills Prime for training people.
So the overall picture is India moving towards Viksit Bharat, developed India, and trying to shape the future, not just catch up. And industry action is key to keeping that self-reliance passion going.
That's the takeaway from this source, yeah.
Okay, let's pivot completely now. A very different but incredibly important topic, maternal health. Specifically, care before pregnancy. This source starts with a pretty stark statistic.
Which one is that?
Over 57% of women of reproductive age in India actually start their pregnancy already dealing with undiagnosed anemia. That's more than half.
Wow. That really underscores the point the source makes, doesn't it? We focus so much on care during pregnancy, but maybe the foundation is laid much earlier, before conception even happens.
Right. A woman's health at conception impacts the whole pregnancy and the child's health, too.
And untreated anemia, it often starts with things like fatigue, dizziness, weakness, things easily dismissed, maybe.
Yeah, but if your hemoglobin is dangerously low when you conceive, the risks jump. Preterm birth, low birth weight, even life-threatening issues for the mother, like preeclampsia or postpartum hemorrhage.
And it contributes hugely to morbidity and mortality. Plus, the baby doesn't get enough iron, leading to anemia in the child, too. It's a cycle.
India's made progress on the maternal mortality ratio, down to 93 per 100,000 live birth, which is good.
Commendable progress, definitely. But the force argues that to keep that going, or improve further, we need to look before pregnancy. Proactive steps. It reframes the question, doesn't it? Not just, are you ready for motherhood, but is your body ready for pregnancy?
The main strategy has been oral iron folic acid, IFA supplements, but they have limitations.
Nausea, stomach issues, constipation, side effects that mean people don't always take them consistently, and absorption can be poor for some.
And the source says for women with long-standing or more severe anemia, just taking pills during the 9 months of pregnancy might not be enough time to catch up fully.
Which is why it pushes for a more comprehensive approach, particularly for moderate to severe cases. It highlights TV iron, specifically ferric carboxymaltose, or IVFCM.
How is that better?
Well, it delivers iron straight into the bloodstream, so it bypasses gut issues and absorption problems. It restores levels much faster. And crucially, it gets around something called hepcidin.
Hepcidin.
Yeah, it's a hormone that can block oral iron absorption, especially when inflammation or iron stores are high. Iron isn't affected by it.
But the source also says it's not just about iron, right? Other deficiencies often get missed.
Exactly. Like vitamin B12 deficiency affects nearly half, 49% of women of reproductive age. And B12 is vital low levels impact anemia too and can increase risks of birth defects. So just giving iron won't fix it if B12 is also low.
What else?
Undiagnosed thyroid problems, or hyperthyroidism, can mess with anemia and harm fetal development.
Yeah.
Same with gestational diabetes, often not caught until later in pregnancy.
So the solution proposed is more screening.
Yes. Routine screening for thyroid function, blood glucose, and B12 before conception. The source suggests this could significantly improve outcomes. And for tough cases, maybe combining injectable B12 folate with 5E iron.
And it emphasizes the community role too, families, health workers.
Absolutely. AHAs and Anganwadi workers are key. They can educate families, stress the importance of screening, make these preconception checkups seem just as normal and vital as antenatal visits during pregnancy.
So it's framed as a societal thing, not just medical. Families, healthcare, policymakers, communities all need to collaborate.
Right. Because failing to address these issues before pregnancy affects women and future generations, especially given iron's role in brain development.
The source ends with a strong call to action then. Normalize these checkups, use IVFCM more where needed, refine the oral strategies.
Exactly. The goal.
Yeah.
Safe, healthy, dignified pregnancy for everyone. It quotes something powerful. Quote, "No woman should enter pregnancy anemic. No woman should be anemic during pregnancy due to preventable deficiencies. No woman should leave childbirth weaker than she entered it. Making preconception care routine is, as the source puts it, essential, urgent, and transformative."
Okay, third source.
Yeah.
We're shifting again, this time to space, technology, and AI. Satellites are changing, apparently.
Yeah, the source talks about them moving from just being, passive tools observing, sending data back to being active, thinking machines using AI. They call it satellite edge computing.
Like putting the computer right on the satellite.
Exactly. The analogy used is like self-driving cars on the ground, but for space, giving the satellite itself AI capabilities.
And this allows for some pretty advanced stuff.
Oh, yeah. Autonomous operations, docking, inspections, repairs, route planning, also things like much more targeted geospatial intelligence, even combat support applications, game-changing stuff.
There's always a but, isn't there? What are the risks?
Well, autonomy isn't foolproof. The source flags the risk of AI hallucinations in orbit.
Hallucinations in space.
Yeah, basically the AI misinterpreting data. Imagine it wrongly flagging a harmless commercial satellite as some kind of threat, and maybe triggering an automated defensive action. The source calls it uncharted territory, with real potential for escalating tensions, even causing a geopolitical crisis.
And this bumps up against existing space law.
Big time. It exposes gaps in the foundational treaties, like the Outer Space Treaty from '67 and the Liability Convention from '72.
Why? What's the problem?
Because those treaties were written assuming humans were always in control. When an AI makes its own decisions, concepts like authorization and continuing supervision by a state become, well, ambiguous. And defining who's liable if an AI messes up gets really tricky.
Right, the core legal dilemma. Who do you blame? If an AI causes an accident, is it the launching state, the operator, the programmer, the AI itself?
Exactly. And it's complicated by what the source calls the human-AI gap. We don't always fully understand or predict complex AI behavior, and the fact that space projects are often international collaborations.
So what are the proposed solutions, legally or technically?
The source suggests a few things. Maybe categorizing satellite autonomy levels, like we do for self-driving cars. Also, enshrining the principle of meaningful human control in law, making sure a human can ultimately intervene.
And certification.
Yes, global certification frameworks, maybe under the UN or ISO, to properly test how these AIs handle faults or avoid collisions. Think rigorous testing, adversarial challenges, and detailed logging of decisions for later review.
And maybe learning from other areas, like aviation or maritime law.
That's another idea. They use things like strict liability in some cases and pooled insurance models to handle compensation for complex multi-party incidents. Maybe space could adapt something similar.
Beyond the legal side, there are ethical and geopolitical concerns too.
Definitely. Autonomous weapons in space is a big one, Biss. Lack of human control, risk of escalation. The source stresses needing international safeguards to prevent an arms race there.
And data ethics, with all the info these AI sats could gather.
Yeah, privacy, potential for misuse. That needs careful governance. The source is really clear. International cooperation is absolutely vital for all of this.
So the main point is, AI in space is advancing fast, but the laws and policies need to catch up equally fast.
Pretty much. Thousands more satellites are expected soon. More sats, more autonomy, means higher risk of incidents if we don't have clear rules. Autonomy offers efficiency, but it could bring instability without that legal clarity and international agreement. It needs a regulatory approach that balances innovation with caution and shared responsibility for space. Urgent collaboration needed.
Okay, final source for today. Bringing it right back down to earth, into schools, actually, talking about sugar boards.
Sugar boards, what are those?
It's an initiative from the CBSE, the main central education board in India, directed at its thousands of affiliated schools.
Okay, so what does a sugar board do?
It's basically a visual aid, designed to show students, very directly, how much sugar is in common foods and drinks they might consume. The source says it's often DIY schools literally stick empty bottles or juice boxes on a board next to the equivalent amount of sugar, shown in packets or teaspoons.
Ah, I see. Very visual. Got any examples?
Yeah, the source mentions a 300-milliliter popular fizzy drink having about 8 teaspoons of sugar, that's around 32 grams, and even a smaller 125-milliliter popular mango drink having 5 teaspoons, about 20 grams, helps to remember 1 teaspoon is roughly 4 grams.
That really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? So the boards show recommended intake, sugar content, health risks, healthier options, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And given CBSE's reach, it could potentially raise awareness among almost 2 crore students and their families. That's a lot of people.
So why the big push now? Who's driving this?
The National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, the NCPCR, is strongly advocating for it. They're highlighting a really worrying trend, a significant rise in type 2 diabetes among children.
Type 2. In kids. That used to be an adult disease, right?
Almost exclusively. But the NCPCR links this rise directly to high sugar intake and just how easy it is for kids to get sugary stuff, especially around schools.
Is there data on how common type 2 is in children in India now?
The source cites estimates of around 397 cases per lakh population among children and adolescents. That's apparently second only to China globally. It's a serious concern.
And kids are consuming too much sugar.
Seems so. The source mentions studies showing 4 10-year-olds getting about 13% of their daily calories from sugar and 11 18-year-olds getting 15%, both well over the WHO's recommended limit of 5%.
What about food regulations in India? Is there a standard for sugar in school foods?
Well, the Food Standards and Safety Authority, FSSAI, is discussing defining high-fat, salt, and sugar HFSS levels for school meals and packaged foods. But they haven't finalized it or set specific cutoffs for India yet. So for now, India mostly relies on those WHO guidelines about 25 grams or 6 teaspoons a day.
But the source mentions some experts think India might need even lower limits.
Yeah, due to a possible genetic predisposition to heart issues in the Indian population. It highlights the need for more local data, really, to set the right standards for India.
So these sugar boards, are they seen as the whole solution?
No, the NCPCR sees them as just the beginning. They're talking about maybe introducing similar directives for salt and trans fats later, gathering better data on diabetes from hospitals, and getting parents and doctors more involved through PTAs and workshops.
Makes sense. Tackle the sugar first, then broaden the effort.
Right. So the core issue is too much sugar driving up type 2 diabetes in kids. These visual tools like sugar boards plus wider regulatory action and community involvement are seen as important first steps to try and turn that tide.
Thank you for listening. You can give suggestions by contacting on Twitter handle given in the episode description.
We are always eager to hear what our listeners want to be informed about.